is hard.
It sure is. Whew.
So, in honor of Black History Month, there was an amazing poet, and what was her name? Something Songbird. I posted her on our page, and she was talking about all the amazing things that Black is.
Mm.
And one of the things that she said was, she was like, Black is hard to do.
Mm.
And then she goes on to say, like, Black is this, Black is that. And then she said, Black is adjective, adverb, color, and noun. And I was
Yes.
like, girl, yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. But when she said Black is hard to do, I was like, man, so is healing.
Absolutely. It absolutely
And I
is.
know that sometimes it gets glamorized because people say, I'm having self care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And they take these trips. And y'all, I'm about to be one of them. Okay. I'm about to be, look,
Big self-care.
it's coming.
Hey.
But there's so many elements of healing that I think people gloss over, or we just say do the work, or whatever, and people are like, well, what does that mean, and what does it look like, and how do you even know when you're done, and blah blah blah.
Right.
And so today we just want to take a moment to acknowledge that it's difficult. It's
Ooh.
not easy.
No. No.
It's not easy at all.
Mm-mm.
So Bessie, I'll start by asking you, when you hear healing, what's the first thought that comes to your mind?
Mm. I think of, for me, I actually think of anxiety. Like it brings
Mm.
me anxiety because, again, y'all know, and I talk about this a lot on the podcast. Like, I'm the type of person where I just want to keep going. I don't want anything to stop me from doing the things that I want to do. So healing brings me anxiety because I know I need to stop, acknowledge, and I need to work on something. And and the way I used to be, it was like, no, just keep going. You're gonna bury it, push it down, and just keep moving forward. And of course, we all know that bites you in the ass because it's gonna keep showing up until you address it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I used to hear the word healing, it definitely brought upon some anxiety of, okay, now I have something I need to do, and I can't not do it because this is the work I have to do for myself.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Um, I think for me, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna be healed.
Mm.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm hurt right now, so I'm gonna read this book and then I'm gonna be cool. And then I read the book and I'd be like, so I still ain't,
And then you're right.
because sometimes it takes a series
Mm.
of things to get your healing,
Yeah.
right? So like if somebody got into a bad car accident, they broke their leg, right? They might be in the hospital first for a couple days. They might have
Mm-hmm.
to have a surgery.
Yeah.
Then they might have to be in a cast or whatever.
Yeah. So
Then they might have
steps.
to do physical
Yeah.
therapy, right? It's like there's so much involved in the rehabilitation. And sometimes it's like, oh, and we're going to take it day by day because we don't know how your body's going to respond to this. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like for me, healing is a lot of times trial and error.
Oh
So
yes.
it's like, okay, maybe the book showed you that you need to do something else. And then sometimes it's like surgery where people say, like, oh, you have this. So we're going to do surgery to remove that thing that doesn't belong there. But then when they get in there, they discover that something else is there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what healing is too. It's so multifaceted, it's so multi layered. So you think, oh, I'm hurt from this breakup.
Right.
But then
But
you start
it's,
working on the breakup,
woo.
but then you find out it's your daddy issues kicking
Listen.
in.
Ding 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 ding.
Bing bong.
Yes. Bing bong. You like, oh man, where did this come from? I thought I
Right.
was just healing from this one
Right.
heartache. And
Exactly.
the heartache had roots. That bug was
Exactly.
deep.
Right.
So
Okay. We ain't trying to do roots. I
listen.
just wanted to clear the leaves, but then you see the roots, and
Ooh.
now you have to acknowledge the roots because you see them,
Yes.
right? And
Absolutely.
so then it becomes about a choice. I think there's always a pivotal moment where it's like, okay, well, but getting through the breakup was hard. Do I want to go with the daddy issues
Mm.
route, or do I just want to stick with the healing from the boyfriend route? You know what
Ooh.
I mean? Because I've done that a couple times, so I can do
Listen.
that.
I know that. That's routine.
But but I didn't do the daddy one, so
Right.
I'm gonna leave that alone, and then I'm gonna go get in another relationship.
Ooh.
So that's where I think there's always that pivot in the road where it just becomes a choice to heal or
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
because you could just walk around on your crutch
Mm-hmm.
forever. You
Yeah.
could, You
Mhm.
know, so it's like you have to make a deliberate choice, and each one is painful, but just in a different way.
Yeah.
Because if I continue to walk around on this crutch, then I'm overextending my arms, right?
Yep.
I'm causing pain to other parts of my body that had nothing to do with the trauma. So I that means I continue to hurt other people because I
Mhm.
haven't dealt with
Mm.
my own roots. Or I could continue to pretend like it's just the boyfriend, get in another relationship and repeat the same pattern. And then again, cause pain to probably myself because I'm not acknowledging what the real issue is.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's,
you know,
yeah. It's kind of like if your car breaks down as well. Like if you I don't know much about cars, but it's always something that triggers something else that will trigger
yeah.
something else in a car. So I just had some car issues where I had to get a whole new alternator, but that's neither here nor there.
And you only see the byproduct. Like
Yes.
you don't see the root. You only see the
You only
byproduct
see the
of it.
byproduct. So it started with a battery that turned into my alternator that might turn to something else. And I'm just like, when does it end? But I feel like that's kind of how healing is, especially if you don't address the major problem, which in my part was the issue was just take care of your car. And that's not what I was doing. So the same thing with ourselves, like take care of yourself and dig a little deeper to figure out what's going to cause the next kind of ripple effect, because it is going to ripple out if you don't take care of it. But when you were talking before that about like how healing hurts and how we think that sometimes healing is just this self-care, like I'm gonna just take a
I'm gonna
bubble
get a
bath,
massage.
I'm gonna get a massage,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go on this trip.
listen, I'm gonna go on my trip, my eat pray love, so those are the type of things that we see in the media or in movies or in books, and it's like, okay, well, that's what healing looks like. But if we've learned anything through talking about healing and learning about healing, like healing is not linear at all. Like it's definitely a 100-foot roller coaster ride that turns into like a merry-go-round that turns into the giant drop. Like it's all of these
Not the
things,
giant drop.
the giant, the Superman.
Oh
Listen,
no.
all of those things where it turns into, and there aren't many great depictions of what healing looks like because of that, because it's so non-linear. um but for me, it's definitely, you gotta get at them roots because they there. And that's the hardest part. Like if anybody has a green thumb, like roots are hard to like separate from the soil. So you really have to like dig deep to get in there to fix that issue.
And sometimes you have to cut off what they're attached to,
Exactly.
right?
And
Because
that's ooh,
that's a whole nother thing.
listen, that is so difficult to choose you in that instance, where it's like you got to cut off the things that don't serve you or that's stopping you from growing and those type of things. But again, with healing being the way it is, nobody tells you that like that's going to come, or you're gonna have to let these people go, and it's not gonna feel good because this is what you knew, and this is what you thought you knew, for that matter. um and that's the hurtful part. Like that's what makes it so hard and hurt so
Yeah.
much.
It's a series of learning and unlearning, right? And then
Mhm.
trying
Ooh.
to operate in the new version and apply what you learn, but it's really uncomfortable. And that's why it hurts, right? Because you're used to the thing, especially if you've been dealing with it for years. It's like it becomes a part of you. You know how they talk about a frog in boiling water? How
Mm.
they say that, like, if you put a frog in water and it's room temperature and you slowly turn it up,
Mm.
they don't feel it,
Oh, wow. Wow,
right?
wow, wow.
And
Yeah,
that's
I've
how
heard
we
that.
are in our
Yep.
environments, right? Like if you grew up in a toxic household or whatever, like you don't necessarily know that you're even hurt,
Mm.
right? And you know, you've seen people that come to the doctor or whatever, they go to the ER because something happened, something else happened, and then the doctor's like, "Did you know that your foot was broken?"
Mm.
And you're
You
like,
don't even
"No, I'm
know.
here because my heart hurts." And it's like, okay, because it did something in your foot that shot up to your
Mm.
heart, you know. So here you are because you're complaining about the byproduct, but the root was the foot, but you didn't even see it.
Mm.
Right. And I love when that happens when I go to the dentist because I complain about one tooth and they be like, it's the other tooth. And I'd be like, but it's this tooth. Is this one
Right.
hurts?
This one
Okay.
hurt.
Listen to me. And
Listen.
they're like, no, no, no. Mm-mm. It's radiating from
Mm.
this other area. And I feel like that's what happens a lot because we're not, if you grow up in a certain environment and you don't, your perception is is off.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
It's like, oh, me and my family always talk to each other like that. We're just joking. Okay, well
Mhm.
that's abusive.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
toxic.
It
That
is.
it's actually very mean
Mhm.
and very cruel.
Yep.
Have you ever considered how that carries into your, your self-image and your self-esteem?
Yeah.
But a lot of times we normalize things.
We do, or we're to the point now where we're like, oh, that's just how I am.
That's just how I am.
And I
That's
used
just
to
what
be
we
did
do.
listen, that was
That's just
big
what
on
that don't
that.
mean nothing.
I
That's
just
just
do
what we
that,
do.
like that's just me.
Right.
Like,
It don't mean nothing.
but okay, that's just you. But I'm telling you, that
But
ain't
that
it.
stems from somewhere. So
Absolutely
where does that
does.
come from? And I was reading in your book, and it was talking about your favorite verse,
Hmm.
Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. And I did a healing habit on it, and I was saying how you know you really need to understand that the words that you say
Hmm.
and the actions that you do, you can't be like, oh, I didn't mean that, or oh, I was just playing. Like, no, there's somewhere in your heart
Yeah,
where that's coming from.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
Yep.
might
It's
want to look into that.
and you might want to, and there go them roots. Like you gotta dig a little deeper to figure out why that is and where that is coming from, because it's definitely stemming from somewhere.
And I think too, it's hard to identify the root sometimes.
Hmm.
Like sometimes we think we have the root,
Yeah.
and then you be like, all right, I'm done. Woo,
Listen, I did it. I'm finished.
Benny.
Man.
And then something grows back
Yeah.
there because you thought you got the root, and then here comes that weed,
Yeah.
and you keep plucking up the weed, but you never got the root. So
And that's tough. And I've definitely been there with just some of the stuff that I used to say. So one of my things was like I would always say stuff was stupid, like all the time. Um and I'm really conscious about it now. And for me, that just stems from hearing it in my house. Like people saying that, oh, you stupid, like just hearing it, and it never, like, two and two never comes together until you think about, like, okay, well, why do I say that? Like, where is
yeah,
this
you gotta
coming
ask yourself.
from?
Yeah.
um and it always comes about. So if you just really like stop and reflect and think about the things that happened to you, like your childhood is absolutely the foundation of everything, like what happened to you.
It is.
That from the time we like 5 to like however old, like that is such a foundational time, and everything and all your experiences and the way you were brought up, and the people who were in your household and the people you had experiences with, all of that plays into the adult that you are. And it takes a lot of reflection, it takes a lot of like intention to be like, okay, well, why do I act the way I act right now?
Right.
um and it's important that you work on that, because as I get older, for sure, I'm 35. So going into different relationships or going into different career sets and mindsets, like you have to start looking back to that foundation that you had. Like, okay, is this going to serve me as I continue to move forward? What's working for me at 35, definitely I can't do those things that I used to do when I was 30, and that was only 5 years ago. Like,
Right.
I've evolved so much in those 5 years. Like, I can't do that stuff no
Yeah.
more.
And that's why I love what you said, right? Like the whole idea of I've always done this.
Hmm.
Okay, well, grow up,
You got
right? Because now
to.
it's time to put down childish things, right?
Absolutely.
And for me, so that's what you used to do. This is
Hmm.
something that I still do. Okay, that I'm working. I catch myself usually
Hmm.
after I say it, but I'm trying to like make myself stop saying this.
Hmm.
And here it is. I'll be like, niggas be nigging. That's what I say, right? But the truth of the matter is, that does not serve me,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It doesn't serve me to have a preconceived
Mm,
negative um, image
yeah.
or negative assumption about men.
Period.
But
Yeah.
usually, like when people tell me something that some guy, usually it's a guy,
Hmm.
that a guy did that was crazy, right? My response is niggas be
Hmm.
nigging,
Hmm.
niggas be nigging,
That
right?
was in the repertoire.
And I'm trying to get it out. I'm trying to get it out. I'm
Lord.
trying to get it out. But it stems from your heart.
Absolutely.
In this case, it stems from my heart,
Sure.
right? So somewhere in there,
Mm. It's a little bruise.
Right, which is why before, remember when I was talking about how I realized that I was listening to like depressed music, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, but and I thought they are bangers, they are
Hey.
hits. Mary, you know what? Look, you the goat. Okay, it is what it is. Keisha Cole, that song, you did your
Some
thing.
gems.
But hey, it's time to put those down.
Listen, put them
We're
up.
not in that space anymore.
That's
But
it.
the problem is that I became comfortable in that space.
Mm,
That's the problem, right? So
yeah.
how do we navigate moving out of that space? So some, I had to change I had to delete my whole little.
Yeah, I'm like, so when did you recognize it? Like, why are you still in this space?
So I
Like, was there like an aha moment? Like, come
I
on.
recognized it when I was a couple years ago when I was dating this one guy,
Mhm.
and I was talking about how we got to let go of things that don't serve us, and I was talking to him when I was at work, but on the way to work I was listening to my normal playlist,
Mm.
and probably 80% of the songs on there are like hits from the 90s, but they're like like Voice to Men, like on bended knee,
Mhm.
like that's like about somebody trying to get somebody back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you left me or you hurt me or whatever, right? So I was like, as I was telling that to him about the situation he was going through,
Mhm.
I was like, and here I was like, I was listening to this on the way over here, and I was like, this is the music that I listened to. This is the same group of music. Back then it was actual CDs, but now I just put it on the playlist. But this is the same grouping of music from when I was in my 20s when I was really depressed.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, it's so crazy that I've been forever been listening to these same songs because I'd be like, oh, that's my stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, okay, nice. But is it serving you? Right? It
Exactly.
don't mean that it's not a good song.
Right.
It just means that it's not for me anymore. It's a different season.
Listen, because above all else, you got to guard your heart
Look,
from those things that you
exactly.
hear.
So if we're not in that space anymore, then why are we trying to come back here? Because you're
Mm.
you're like gonna manifest this,
Yes.
right? You're going because that's where you're comfortable. So you're
Yep.
gonna subconsciously do something to end up right where you're comfortable
Right
because
where you
that's
are.
what we do,
Yep.
right? So it was more like, okay, but this is my playlist, and I was like, dang, but that's my stuff,
Yep.
So it became okay. Well, I have to let this go.
Yep.
So
And
that's why,
change
like
it.
now, if I hear like one of those songs on that list, I'd be like, you can listen to it one time,
And that's it.
but you can't do the whole.
The spiel.
You
Because it's going to
can't.
take you back to that
Yeah, like
moment.
you can't listen to the whole like okay because when you play one, even on YouTube, if you play one, it'll give you something similar.
Yep.
So it's like okay, if you hear two or more in a row
Yep.
that came from that list, it's a wrap.
And then you're going to be wondering why, like, why do I feel depressed right now? Like, out of
Right.
nowhere.
But it's crazy because whenever one of those songs first come on, I'd be like, "Ooh, yes," you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I remember Brianna. Shouts out to my sorority sister and friend Brianna. We were friends in high school, and she
Mm-hmm.
and I were probably the youngest ones at the Boys to Men
That
concert
is so
at State Fair,
funny.
singing all the lyrics over the music.
I
All the
cannot.
people was looking at us, and we're like, "We don't care.
Hey, it's our
You just
jams.
wish you knew the lyrics. I don't
Right.
know."
Listen.
Wanye, continue.
Sing Wanye.
Sing Wanye.
With your singing
With
self.
your singing self.
Woo.
And I follow Wanye now.
Yeah, he was singing. Jesus and all his kids be singing. So yes.
And there's a song that he made, and that's actually something that we were big fans
Mm.
of Boys to Men. And I remember she was like, "Did you hear the song?" I don't know who I broke up with at this time, but she sent me this song, and it was called "I'm Doing Just Fine."
Mm.
And then at the end, he says like, "Oh, but I know you be coming around someday as soon as my name is Wanye." Right? And that's like my favorite part of the song. So if I start the song, I got to make it to the end of the song because I got to get to the part, right? So it's just one of those things where
Crack it up. Okay, you gonna be coming back to me, okay?
and then it becomes a thing where it's like, you know how you talk somebody, they try to trigger you, like, here they come.
Yes.
Because my name Wanye, right?
Coming back.
But so I think it's just one of those things where it's about being comfortable. So then you have to force yourself to get out of your comfort zone and say,
Yeah.
okay, there's also other music that I like too. That's not this. We can just make this be the 20%
Right.
and let something else be the 80%.
Yeah.
So because I'm a big fan
Big fan.
of the 99 and the 2000, so then when I put down all the R&B sad songs, I don't know, were there happy R&B 90 songs? I don't know, but I went right to the rap.
Yeah.
but it had your girl's spirits lifted. I
I
tell
feel
you
like
that.
90s was it's either sad or like sexual. Like
Okay, and so I feel like I went from like sad, depressed '90s music to like Juvenile, bag it up.
okay, okay. So you went from that to like turn up.
Turn up,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It went to
Okay.
turn up because it was like, well, I want to be happy, like in
Yeah.
good spirits. So
Yeah.
it went to that. But then I was just like, so I don't know if you saw this TikTok, but it was like this black dude, and he was talking about how he's at work with a bunch of white coworkers, and they were like, "Oh, how come you're so quiet? How come you don't say anything?" And he's like, he says it in his mind, but he's like, "Cause I have nigga
Yeah,
thoughts
yes, I've definitely seen
and
that.
nigga ways
And nigga ways.
I
Yes.
can't." So then that's why I be like I was telling the Dre, I was like, I get worried sometimes when I'm in these meetings that something's just going to slip out that I
Niggas
won't be
be
able that
niggas.
I won't be able to explain.
Like you sit at the table like, man.
And I just be like, niggas be nigga.
Niggas
I
be
don't know.
nigga. They would be like, what? That would be
Because
a
I
mess.
mean,
Whew.
I don't know. It's
Whew.
just one of those things.
No, that is very true. And I feel like you said, like you have to remove yourself from a place. But again, that takes like acknowledgement to know that,
Yeah.
okay, I remember why I was listening to those things at that point. Like I needed this music to help me get
Well,
through.
it was helping me
It was helping
heal.
you.
It served me
Absolutely.
in the
It served
moment.
you.
So never am I gonna say that these are bad songs. Okay.
Absolutely. It served
But they're
you.
just not for me. It's
But
not
right.
it's not the season.
Where I'm at right now, like,
Right.
nah, like this ain't really there.
Right.
And I do think those things are very powerful. I'm really in tune with music.
Well,
Like
you
that stuff is
gotta
powerful.
guard all your openings. What are you watching? What are you listening
Yes.
to? Who has your ear?
Yes.
Whoever has your ear
Yes.
influences your life.
Yep. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, so if people are not speaking positive over me, or you bringing drama or
Yep.
whatever, that don't serve me. Go over there to the people who want that.
Exactly. Let them
Right?
feed off
That's
of
why
it.
this podcast is not a gossip blog or podcast, right?
No, not
Some
at all.
people, and I ain't gonna lie too. I have there was a she wasn't a podcast. She had a YouTube channel, and
Okay.
she did a lot of like there was maybe 3 girls that I would listen to occasionally. Then I started listening to them more, and then I was just like, I don't want to like occasionally if I want to, like, oh my god, this
Indulgence.
happened. Let me go
Yeah.
check that out. I have a source, but I don't want to do this every day.
Yeah, no.
But she would have people online with her buy. I'm talking 10,000, 20,000 people to get all the tea.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Now I was on there with the thing with Derek Jackson. If we're just gonna be honest,
I mean, I'm just saying that
because I was like, now what happened with the what now?
that story
but
was
then
crazy.
after like maybe the second one, because it was follow-ups and this
Yeah.
happened and this leaked and it was like a whole big thing. And it was just like, okay, this is taking up too much of my time.
Yeah.
And I have more productive things to do.
Yeah,
right?
and that's interesting in doing the work that we do in podcasting and media, and then I blog from time to time. But that is true. Nicole XO is what she's called now. But she used to be Nicole Bitchy, so it was more like a gossip blog. Like I was religiously like reading her blog every day, and it was kind of like a gossip or like the Shade Room, like just celebrity gossip and news and stuff like that. But then she like sent out a final blog like, I can't do this no more. Like this is not serving me. Like it's not a purpose. Like I'm not helping anybody do this. And then she switched it over to XO Nicole, and now it's more like relationships, love life,
Yes.
sex life. Like it's definitely like a space for Black women and to learn
Yeah.
about all these different things, which she really like found her purpose and her mission
Because
to do that.
what happens is slowly that stuff starts to weigh on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't catch it, because it happens so minor, so
Yep.
slowly, right? That you may not even you don't even realize it, but you slowly start to change. But that stuff does it again, it's a reflection of what's in your heart. And I don't want gossip in my heart.
Yeah, nah, not
I
at
don't
all.
want look, I'm trying to and I always say, mind your business. So I was like, why am I? This is their business. Do I really
Listen.
care? Does this really impact me?
Yes.
What I was trying to figure out why I was trying to look at Derek Jackson is because I was following him.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I was like, oh.
And he was somebody that was like, this is what men should do.
Exactly.
Like speaking
right.
like
and
that.
I felt like he was holding men accountable.
Yeah,
Like that whole thing.
yeah.
And I had like bought some of his stuff, whatever.
Yeah,
So I was like, Derek
same.
Jackson,
Same.
who are you? Right.
Listen, I was
But
reposting
then-
all his videos.
Right.
Yeah.
But then after like the second gossip thing that she did, I was like, okay, so the point is he cheated.
Right.
She took him back, whatever. Did he do it? Did he not? Is the other girl pregnant? Like, whatever. That's none of my business.
Exactly. Ain't got
Right?
nothing to do with us.
Either you gonna keep watching him or you're not. and that's it.
And that's it. That's
That's
all.
all it is. Either you're in or you're out.
Yeah.
Either way, this ain't none of your business. So
It sure ain't, because I definitely feel you. And I was like, I watched the blog, that one story, and I was like, all right, unfollow. Like, that's the decision I'm gonna
exactly,
make.
right,
So it's
exactly. And I
very
think it's the
simple.
same thing about like, on YouTube and TikTok and whatever, where it's like, okay, if I see too many things in a row where I'm like, what is this? No, unfollow, like, no, stop sending me this content. So in
Yeah.
order for them to stop sending you this content, you have to stop watching it.
Yeah.
Like when you see it come up, you cannot let it play all the way through it and be like, "Oh my god!" and then share it and be like, "Can you see this? I don't believe this." Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Or
No.
you literally got to be like, "I don't like it. Keep going."
Yeah, and on TikTok you can't hit the thing, the like the bubbles. I think I don't know if it's bubbles on there, but you can't say like don't play no more like this, no more videos like this.
Yeah, because at first I didn't get what people were saying because they'd be like, "Welcome to Clean Talk," and I'm like, "So do you select?" Like I was trying to figure it out, but really what happens is the people
It's
who keep
basing it.
watching
Yep.
the clean TikToks all the way through, they send you more
Yep.
cleaning TikToks all the
Yep.
way through. The people who watch religious TikTok, they get more religious
Yep.
TikTok all the way through. The
Yeah.
people who keep watching, sound meditations or whatever, that's what you're going to keep getting. If you keep watching BBLs all the way through, you're going to keep getting
That's
BBLs.
all you gonna
That's
get.
all you're going to get.
Yep.
So, I watch a lot of travel ones.
Nice.
And I'll be like, I'm going here, I'm going there. I'm
That's
going
so
everywhere.
funny. I ain't been on TikTok in so long, but I was
But
watching like food stuff. It was my whole thing.
Yes, you and Brittany was
Yes,
definitely watching the food and the clean
thing.
ones.
Yeah, the clean talk.
You and Brittany watch all the same stuff. Every show that you'd be
Yes.
like, did you watch this? She'd be like, girl, you gotta watch. I'd be like, I can't stand you guys.
Listen,
I feel a little bit threatened that you and Brittany are gonna become like
I'm
best
just
friends.
saying, like, I mean, we can watch
I saw
all
y'all
the
at the
food
wedding,
shows.
and I was
Listen,
like,
that's the girl.
gonna have to break
That's my
this
girl.
up.
No, listen. Shout out to Britt. Hey, girl.
I'm editing that out.
Listen,
I'm just playing.
we can watch all the food shows ever because my friends don't watch them. I'll be the only one watching
like,
Top
what
Chef. So
but
bad.
I think that that's what it's all about, and we don't realize that we have the power to control that.
And I you hit the nail on the head. Like I don't think, and even me, like I didn't think I had the power to control. And like I wrote in my journal.
Are you about to hold on? Wait a minute. This is what authors do, y'all. They be like, and as I say in my book.
Yeah. But
and as I mentioned in my book, go ahead, do it again, Beth.
So as I wrote in my book,
yes,
single and not quite ready to mingle. I do think that the tide like turned for me in particular was going to that Woman Evolve conference.
Girl, that was pivotal.
Like it
honey.
was pivotal, and I had so many obstacles like against me to I shouldn't even win, to be honest with you. And I'm thankful that I went. I'm thankful that you all looked out for me. My mom looked out for me, but I was not in a good headspace to go to that conference at all. And looking back, like I am so grateful that I was able to go and like really receive the messages that were coming, because a lot of times before going to that conference, before I would go to church and I would be like, okay, like I would get the message, but it would literally be like in one ear and out the other. Like I would not apply like none of the teachings that I've learned. But going to that, it was like, no, you about to stop and do this work.
Girl, but you know what's funny about that conference? You were not in a good headspace. I was in a great headspace.
See?
But I still left and was like, oh, there's more to heal.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We was shook. Like, we not done.
Right.
They did. Like,
I was
there's
like,
more.
well, what have I done then? Like,
Jesus.
I thought I was making progress here.
Man.
So and that's why I think like it's notable that it's a journey. Like sometimes you think you've done it, and then something will show you that that's not it.
Not it at all.
Because you was crying like the first day,
girl.
The first second that we got there, but by the 20th minute in, all of us was broke down.
I mean, broken.
The entire room, and I was like. So the next day I was like, maybe I shouldn't go.
Listen here. I'm like, dang, we got more day 2. There's more
like,
of this.
I thought today was going to ease us in.
Oh my God. I mean, talk about getting your entire life.
Yes.
Like, that was just the moment where I was like, something's got to give. Because not only am I sick and tired of myself, like at this point, I'm tired of me. Like, you're the problem. It's not nobody else. It's me. And I was tired of it. And, sometimes I still do yell at myself, like, girl, aren't you tired of this? Like, come on. Like, I have conversations often with myself, like, okay, you keep wanting to do the same stuff, but you're evolved from that. Like, stop trying to go
It's a
backwards
battle. So
daily.
I too internally I'd be like, dude, what we just said that we don't do this.
Listen.
So and here's the thing, because people be like, if you steal once, are you a thief? If you cheat once, are you a cheater? Right? Like, or do you have to have it be a habit for that to be
Mm,
you?
mm,
But it's like if they hire me and I work one day, I got that title,
mm-hmm.
right? If I have one baby,
Yep.
I'm a mother,
I'm a mama. Just one.
right? Like if I
Listen.
have sex one time, I'm not a virgin. So
Listen.
it's like, and I
Mm,
think that for me, sometimes I find myself negotiating like my actions,
mm.
and then I'll tell myself, but then you're not keeping your commitment to yourself. So that's how my conversations go with myself. Is I'm like, okay, but if you do this, then you're not who you said you were, and
Exactly.
you're not living in your truth. And so who do you want to be? Because you actually get to decide who you want to be. So here's the moment.
Here is
What are
it's
you
staring
choosing,
right in front
right?
of you.
And one thing that my old pastor used to say, he used to be like, church people go to church,
Mm.
right? And so that can be applied to anything, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, okay, podcasters podcast,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in order for you to be a podcaster, you need to like show up and do the work,
Abs. Do the work.
right? It can be applied to whatever it is that you say that you are. Are
Yep.
you doing it?
Yep.
Right? Otherwise, stop calling yourself that.
Please do.
Maybe you
Man.
used to. You used to podcast.
Listen.
You don't know more.
Woo,
Or
don't we
like,
know the struggle?
or I'm, all the things that are on my resume.
Girl.
Right? Okay. If you're not actually doing them, then they sound good and they look nice.
But do
But
you?
is it consistent with your character?
Mm.
And I think that that's what it really comes down to, is like, I'm always like, okay, here's like the fork in the road.
Mm-hmm.
Are you said you wanted to be better, but are you gonna get the 10,000 steps? Did you drink the 6 things of water? What you
Girl.
do?
I could like literally fight myself every single day. Like, get yourself together, bro. Like,
And I think that's why they say that a lot of people get inspired, but it's really the habits.
it's absolutely the habits. It's the habits.
And all it takes is one time for you to break
It's the discipline. Like,
It's the
discipline is
discipline.
on such another level. Like, we've all had interactions and experiences with discipline and what that looks like, but to truly be disciplined within yourself, that's a different, like, your mind has to be in a different place. And that's what it all boils down to.
There was something that we posted on our page, and it talked about guarding your focus.
Mm.
And it talked about how we have alarms on our doors because we want to guard our house, and how we have locks on our phone because we don't, God forbid somebody get your phone, right? But it was talking about how you need to guard your focus because distracted people distract people, right?
Indeed.
And so if I say I want to be whatever, and this is how it always happens too. The second that you declare, like, I'm not eating meat, like, let's say you, because this is more likely to be you, right? You would be like, I'm not eating meat. Yeah. That would be like, ooh, I want some else's wings.
Listen here, Jesus, it's always gonna be something.
Like,
Something's gonna pop up.
But now you're a distraction.
Listen.
So no. Well, just come with no.
Listen.
And I think that that's the thing too, is that a lot of times you'll find that whatever you say you're not doing, people will try to negotiate you into doing it.
Absolutely.
Like, I went out I was fasting, and I went out with I had already made plans to go out with coworkers, and I was like, dang, I didn't realize it. So I texted them and I said, I'm coming, but I can't eat. Right. So I come, and they're like, well, not just a little. No, what part if I could not eat? Don't you understand?
Yeah. No, even as your friends, like, we had to learn that too. Like, when you knew when you were fasting and you meant it, like, no, I can't do this. Like, it was definitely like, okay, well, we have to work around it. I'm sorry.
And that's what I've learned too, is that some people, you can go and they get it.
Yeah.
But then some people will keep challenging.
Yeah.
You.
Which is like I told you, no.
So I'll give you an example. And shouts out to Adrea. Okay, I'm about to look. This
Adrea.
Look, she like periodically peeps in on episodes, and she's like, every time I peep in, you're talking about me.
Well, congratulations to Adrea and Tasha welcoming the new baby. They posted it, so now I feel like we can also say it. But yes, new babies in 2022.
Babies is coming, honey.
Yes, congrats.
But I was fasting this one day, and she was like, "Oh, like, you gotta come." Like, coworkers were going out doing whatever, and I was like, "No," because people are gonna be like, "Oh, you gotta eat something." She was like, "People aren't even gonna notice. Like, they're gonna be doing their own thing." And I was just like, "Yes, they are. I know they are, because this is how it always happens."
Yep.
And she was like, "Just come." So I was like, "Okay, I came." Right. we're sitting there, and I came late, so
Mm.
people had already. It's not even like they were taking orders, right? They had already, the food was out. Everybody was picking up what they wanted to eat and
Nice.
drink. That was it. And so, one of our senior leaders was like, "So you're not going to eat anything?" And I was like, "No." Right.
No.
And I'm trying to move back to the the
Right.
regular conversation. He's like, "So like nothing?" And I was like, "No."
Oh
And then I
my
said, so then
gosh.
to shut him up, I said, I don't eat after 6.
Right.
And then he was like, "Oh, okay. Is that like a medical thing?" And I was like, "It's personal." Right. So
Right.
it's personal means mind your business.
Please,
That's what it
sir.
means, right? It means it's none of your business. And it means stop asking me because I said it was personal. So then he proceeded to pick at, and I was like, Andrea, I'm leaving because I can't, because I'm either going to cuss out one of our vice presidents or
Right.
or I'm going to eat. So
Because the
I don't
fact
know.
of the matter is, I've already told you. Asked me a question. Are you not eating?
Right.
No.
But
It's the end.
it is, but I'm telling you,
I already know.
that's how it works.
Yeah, people pick
Or
at
you
it.
could be out, you could be like, "Oh, I want," people invite you out and you're like, "Oh, I don't want to drink, but okay, I'm gonna go." Right. "Oh, you
Hmm.
ain't gonna drink nothing?" "No." "Oh, well, I'm just gonna get you a," "No."
Yeah.
I said no.
Here, I'm gonna get us shots. I said I'm
Right.
not
Well,
drinking.
just one round of shots. You're like, I just said no. I don't understand.
I
But the
said what
funny
I
thing
said.
is that you could be so like, it never works the opposite way.
Never.
Like, if people were like, "I'm gonna drink," nobody would be like, "Why are you drinking?"
Exactly.
You know what? Who did the perfect example is Tony. What's his name?
Tony Baker.
Tony Baker.
Hmm.
He said anytime he said he's not going to drink, people are like, "Why? Were you an alcoholic or something?
Yes.
Like, what's going on? Why can't you drink?" And he's like, "I don't want to put poison in my body. Is that not okay?"
Right.
But he was like, "But if anybody said I'm never going to drink water," people were like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
Right. Yeah. Fine.
They'd be like, "All right, I understand. I
Like,
get that. I
what?
get that. That makes sense to me."
Crazy.
But if I offer you water and you don't take it, I don't flip.
At all.
Well, you offer somebody a drink and they say no,
It's the end of the world.
man.
Yes, drinks and food too.
Then
Like,
somehow
people
they're
really be
offended.
Exactly, offended by my not wanting to drink
Drink.
alcohol. Like, what?
It's crazy.
And I feel like that's offensive too, because what if I was a recovering alcoholic?
And that's none of your business.
You're offending me, actually.
right.
Like, what in the world?
So that's why, like, you gotta guard your focus. So anything that come against
Indeed.
your focus, especially if it's your purpose, that thing got to go.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't no ifs, ands, or buts. It's a wrap.
Yeah, definitely.
I said I'm doing this.
I said.
If you can't be here, then that's
Hey.
fine. But understand that this is what I'm doing. I don't care what you're doing. I didn't ask you what you was doing. It don't even matter. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, I probably supported what you were doing.
Exactly.
Even though it had nothing to do with me.
That's the part.
So mind your business. If you can't be for it, then mind your business.
Just go and drink your water while you mind your business.
Right.
And keep
and
on
get
going.
a facial. Because that's what I'm doing.
All of that. Yes. That's how we've been living.
So that's why healing hurts, because it takes so much to guard your focus, because you know that one slip gonna set you all the way back.
Yeah, definitely.
That one slip's gonna set you all the way
And
back.
then you gonna be rehealing. I don't know if that's a word,
Look,
but
it is today.
The rehealing is going to happen if you are not really intentional about the healing, and not just, and there's nothing wrong with, getting a massage or taking a bubble bath or whatever, but you gotta get to that.
I'm gonna do all of the above.
Do all of that. but you cannot do those things and not get at the root.
Well, you can't do all those things and call yourself healed.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because there's no finality.
That's a vacation.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
Because when you come back, all that stuff you tried to escape from or get away from,
that's escapism.
Is going to show up. And it always does. It's gonna be right at your front door as soon as you walk in.
One of my brother's best friends was at the wedding, and his sister, so they're like his family.
Aww.
Right? They were like, "Oh, I'm surprised you're not on the trip right now." I said, "Girl, I'm leaving on Friday." And she was like, "I mean, you just take so many trips." I said, "Well, some people do drugs."
Hey,
and I travel.
I take trips. And hey,
it's what I do.
I'm living my best life as I should.
That is it. But I also do the work.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, that stuff goes hand in hand. While I like to travel, because that's a form of healing for us, for our group. Like, it gives us peace. It gives us time to reconnect, to hang out, to see different spots. So that's perfect. But we also got to do the work.
Yeah.
You got to, because it is going to come back. I don't care what you try to do. You can try to bury like I used to. You could try to just ignore it, think that it's gonna go away on its own. That stuff never works. It's going to keep coming up. It's gonna
Yeah.
be like that weed, and weeds are awful.
Yeah,
Like they just
it
pop
sucks.
up, and you be
At the
like,
worst
bro,
time.
didn't I already pull you, and now you're back. Like soon as I turn around, there's the weed again, like just looking at me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's and that's how you know when you're serious about healing. It's about the choices that you
Mhm.
choose because
Mhm.
it's a choice. The
Yeah.
choices that you choose to make,
You cannot go backwards.
right?
It's every day, and which is why I'm still like, I'm I'm not there yet to date because I'm like I refuse to reheal from some stuff that I was working on.
Right.
Like it's just not even worth it.
It's not worth it. And then when you realize that you're doing it to yourself, you're compounding your own misery, your own pain, you're putting the root deeper down.
Deeper.
Okay. Look,
It is
the
not
roots
worth
got
it.
cousins down
Listen,
there.
them roots deep. You hear me?
Okay,
I
that whole
mean,
gang, gang, gang.
gang. Listen, I'm talking about Kuta Kinte deep roots.
Roots,
Like
okay?
they
I'm
down
talking about the
there.
movie
Listen,
Roots.
the movie, the
all
miniseries,
four right.
all 14 hours. Like no,
Oh my
no,
god.
thank you. I'm not.
Yeah, but I
I
think that's
can't
how you
even.
know is when you literally choose better because you can't call yourself healed and keep choosing to do the same
You
stuff.
cannot. No, you
But
cannot.
it is a process though.
Oh yeah.
So it's not a switch,
No,
right? It's not a
no.
switch.
And it takes that acknowledgement of recognizing that. Like, am I going through this cycle again? Or am I stopping and getting off of this cycle, stepping outside of it to look at it, to see that there is a
To
cycle
see that it even
happening?
exists. And I think that that's why the conversations with ourselves are important. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you saying like I be yelling at myself, but maybe you need to be yelled at by yourself. I be
Oh,
yelling at
yeah.
myself too. Like I be like, so this what we doing?
I literally
Are we
get in the
doing
mirror like, girl,
Issa Rae moment, an
listen,
insecure moment?
listen, I'm talking to mirror me. Like, really? This is what we doing?
Yeah.
This is what you gonna do? All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's look, our life is just a culmination of choices.
Absolutely.
And you know, each one can change the trajectory of your life. So
Sure
it's
can.
about choosing. It's saying, am I in or am I out? If I said
Mm.
I was going to support women and then there's an opportunity for me to support one,
Right.
did I break her down? Did I talk about her behind her back? What did I do?
Gotta be
Did I
in.
say don't buy her book? She
Right.
don't even know what she's talking about.
Who
Who is she?
is this girl?
Right. What's she
That's
doing?
listen.
How she get a book?
It's the choices, man. The choices that we make.
Or is it, oh my God, let me go ahead and get her book? You know,
Absolutely.
I'm not single, but I got a single friend.
Listen, I know
Let me
somebody
go
that's
ahead. I
single.
know somebody that's single. Let
Listen.
me go ahead and do that.
Yes. It's being intentional and doing the real work and doing what you say you're gonna do. So all of
Yep.
those pieces in there.
It's about the alignment. Do my words match my actions?
Ooh, that's the part. I've been working on that for so long. Like it has to. And I'm still working through that. Like I in my head, like I'll be meaning it a different way, but I won't say it like that. And I'm like, that's not what I meant. Like, dang. So really trying to get that in alignment. Like make your mind and your words match all the time. So yeah. Work in progress.
Work in progress.
Yes.
Healing is
Yes.
hard.
It's
It's
hard
work.
and it hurts. And it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And if you don't want to do the work, man, just stay in a cave because you about to be out here being reckless and hurting other people
Hurting
and
other people
just doing too much.
who don't deserve it.
They don't. So we definitely have to recognize like we're all humans. Like I said, we all have experiences. We all grew up a certain way. We have these foundations, and now we just out in the world. But we have to own our parts, our foundation. I think life coach Robin says it best, like that accountability piece. Like it's always gonna come back on me.
Look,
No matter what you try to do, who you try to blame, your parents, your daddy issues. Okay, but what are you doing?
what are you doing about it now? Because it may not have been your fault, but it's your
It's
responsibility
your
to heal, right?
responsibility. You gotta do it. Like I could be mad at my dad every day, all day, and blaming him. Like this is why my relationships don't work. Okay, but what part do you play?
Or what are you doing about it now? Now that you know this,
Now that you know what you're
now that you're
doing,
responsible for the information that you have, right? So I think it's about, okay, but now what?
now what? What are you gonna do?
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
get
And I think
get
that
out
was
of that.
big for me too, because I think for a period of time, especially in my 20s, it felt like I was an effect to everything
Mm-hmm.
that happened. Like I'm receiving this information. And then one day it clicked on me like, oh, I don't have to participate.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I get to choose.
Yeah.
Like I'm not stuck with whoever I'm with.
Exactly. I
This
can move
isn't I
around.
can actually leave you alone.
Yes.
Like
I don't have to be
I don't
bothered
want
with you.
to, right? Because I'm wired a different way,
Yeah.
but I get to. But then that's my
Yep.
choice that I can't blame you for because I
Mm-hmm.
chose to stay here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things
See?
where it's like, look, if you don't like it,
Listen, do something about it.
do something about
But
it.
it's on you.
It's on you,
Mm.
right? So even like
Mm.
with the daddy issues and the mommy issues,
Girl.
look, the work issues, like you can't keep complaining about a job, but you keep going there.
Right. Every
Stop
day.
going there every day if it don't serve you.
Make a
Oh,
change.
but the money. Well, find somewhere else where you can make comparable money.
That's man in every area of your life.
Well, I can't because okay. Well, guess what? You don't want to go because you
Yeah.
got an excuse for everything. So if you don't want to go, just say
Just
that.
say that. Or
If
if
you're
you're
comfortable in
scared,
your
just say that.
misery, just say that.
Yeah. It could
If
be
you want to
fear.
stay where you are, just say that.
Just say that. It could be in a number of things, but just say that. You got to own it.
Right.
Say, I'm
Exactly.
scared. I'm not ready. Like, whatever it is, just say it
Yeah.
so that you can recognize if
I'm
that's why you ain't
confused.
move.
I was listening to this lady the other day, and she was talking about how people claim that they're confused when it
Mm
comes to decisions that they need to make, like, especially in relationships.
hmm. Mm
Should I
hmm. Mm
stay? Should I go? Is he right for me? Is he not? Should I, this job, whatever, whatever. And she was like, most of the time, you're not confused. You are operating in fear.
hmm.
You're
Absolutely.
afraid of the consequences
Yep.
of your actions,
Yep.
right? Because you have to then own the decision that you're making,
Yep.
right? So people a lot of times will just stay and be like, well, I don't know what to do. But she was like, focus on what you do know.
Exactly.
So if you know that you're at this job and you're not happy, then is it important to you to be happy?
Exactly.
Because if not, then why are we talking about it? And if so, then you have to leave.
Exactly. Because you
Or
already know.
in a relationship, okay, if this person is not giving you what you said you wanted, if you're never gonna oh well maybe later, okay, well is it acceptable for you to stay here now? Because if
Exactly.
you're putting up with it now, why would it change later?
And it's not. And you're going to still have that feeling like your gut not going to lie to
Your
you.
gut don't look.
You'll feel it.
Gut has never lost.
Never lost.
Never lost.
And you going to feel it. And you're operating in fear because the gut going to keep punching you essentially in it until you make that move.
Right. So I think that, when I was listening to her, I was like,
Mhm.
wow.
Mm.
Because I have said, so when she was saying this, I was like, interesting.
Girl.
You are speaking directly to me.
Very
Because
much
I have
so.
said on multiple occasions, like, oh, I'm just so confused.
Mhm.
And what about this? And what about that? And blah, blah, blah. And then, but you confuse yourself.
Yeah. You're just talking in circles to yourself to
Because
get
you
away from
already
that
know.
gut feeling
This
when you
don't
already
work.
know.
Exactly. The evidence,
Exactly.
history is the best predictor of the future.
Amen.
Anybody who does any type of forecasting,
Mhm.
one of the major inputs is history. If you're
Yep.
looking at future sales, you look at historical
Yep.
sales, right? Seasonality, whatever. So
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a perfect predictor, right?
Right.
Things certainly could change, but it's one of those things where it's like, especially this. Look, my
Yeah.
brother gonna be. I hope he don't listen to this episode.
Like, what are you talking about me?
Never mind.
Hey.
Because he's gonna listen.
Yeah, he is. Now he is gonna
right.
listen.
He's gonna be like, what?
Like, wait a
What you
minute.
say?
What you
But
say?
all I know, I'm gonna just say this: dudes know what they want,
Listen here.
and when they know what they want, they act like it's what they want.
They do. And it well, so at your brother's reception, I think it was your dad. It was either you or your dad that says just something about urgency. Like, I don't remember who said it, but one of the
That's
two
what
of
I
you
said
said
last
it.
night at Elsa's.
Okay, so we was talking Elsa's. But yeah, you did say that at Elsa's. I'm like, I know I heard this somewhere. But it just reminded me of the movie Love Jones. And I was talking to somebody else about this on Instagram today. And he was like, the movie is not all that. Like, why do you like it so much? But anyway, but I think I like that the movie centers around a sense of urgency. Like, this don't have to matter. This doesn't have to make sense to other people, but it makes sense to us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the beauty of your brother and what he did, and how his life is moving, that it makes sense to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what matters. And guys do know that, like, it makes
Yeah.
sense for me. but a lot of them operate in fear, or they say they're confused about their choices, but it's really fear. Like, am I good enough to move forward in whatever I'm doing? Is what I think a lot of it is. I could be
Right.
wrong,
Or we,
because again, I'm single, so I don't know.
sometimes we just talk ourselves out of it so we can stay comfortable in our pain. Because, like
Oh,
I said,
sure.
it's that boiling water that gets
Yeah, you just
turned
don't
up
recognize it.
slowly.
Yeah,
That's why I'm doing my best to not get in the pot.
for
Right.
sure.
So if I see the red flag, I'm not going to get in the pot because you're going to turn up that water real slow and make me
Mhm.
think. And I'm going to think that I'm in a pool,
Mm.
but I'm actually boiling.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that's a horrible feeling where, and I myself have been in situations and have stepped out and been like, I cannot believe that I was putting up with this.
Yeah.
But it's that boiling water, the
Yeah.
slow turn up, where you look at something, call it something else, you calling it a pool, a jacuzzi,
Mhm.
you're
It's
boiling, you're
burning me.
dying,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're being burned
Mm.
alive. Okay?
That's a
This is
good.
toxic.
Listen, that part. That's a
But
great
you call it
analogy.
love.
Listen. Ooh. Yeah. So
That's why I'm like, Lord, please just keep me out.
keep me
Look,
covered,
you keep me out the
Jesus.
jacuzzi too. If it's
Please.
gonna feel like, look, I don't want it.
Keep me covered in your cloak, Lord.
Jesus got a cloak.
I mean, I'm invisible to all of this until you say that
I'm like,
this is for him. Keep me invisible. You ain't got to know who I am. You
right.
don't got
That's
to
why
see
some of these
me.
dudes, I just be like, nope.
Yeah, when people be
Oh,
like,
but how come you don't?
listen,
I've seen the signs. No,
exactly.
thank you. We've already done this. Remember
Exactly.
last year? Remember the year before? Yeah, he's just like such and such. No,
Same.
thanks. I
Listen,
don't have to accept this.
I'm just saying, like, who are you? I
It's a
ain't
no.
never
But
seen
he's not.
y'all.
I didn't say he wasn't a nice guy.
Hey,
Isn't he
because that
nice?
don't even matter.
Yeah,
Okay.
he nice, he sweet, he kind, but he ain't for me.
Exactly. All of those
And
things.
since we know that, I
we're
don't need to go through
we're
these
not gonna waste
motions.
time here. I'm not gonna waste your time. You definitely not about to waste
Right.
mine. So
I'm trying to heal. I ain't gonna try to, heal one leg and then you break the other while this one is trying to
exactly.
heal.
Listen,
No, thank you.
no, you can't do that. Can't be half-seas with the healing. That's
Mm-mm.
out. So yeah, I love that analogy of the frog in the pot, because that's so true.
Yeah, man.
Like, you don't even recognize it.
You don't even
Mm,
recognize it. You
mm, mm,
assimilate.
mm.
What's it called when women like fall in love with their abductors? What's that called? Like they trust them and everything to the point where they won't even run away if they
Is
go
it
out in
like the
public.
Stockholm
I think
syndrome?
it's like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
well, let me not say it, because crazy is so offensive. I'm sorry. It's not crazy. But
It's
that is a real
it's
thing.
manipulation.
It is absolutely
It's
manipulation.
it's mental abuse.
And a lot of domestic violence people deal with that as well. Like, you're in
Absolutely.
this toxic situation and you
Well,
cannot
because
leave.
I think it's because this person is taking care of you,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, oh, you love me.
Yeah. Mm.
Because if you weren't taking care of me, I wouldn't be here. But then you're also very
What was
abusive.
that show we was watching? Maybe Criminal Minds. Wasn't it like an episode like that on there? Like, the dude was like kidnapping.
Yep.
And it was crazy. Like, they just could not leave, and when they was trying to
They
like
don't
help
want
them
to.
leave, they didn't want to
They don't want to
leave.
leave.
Yeah, I was like,
And then you got to
"Ooh."
convince them that they're even being abused.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the boiling water.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I have done this. I
Yeah.
have been in situations and been like, oh no, that's not what this is. Like somebody has said, this
Mhm.
is what this is. And I'm like, no, that's not what this is.
No, it ain't.
They would
Right.
never,
No, it's not.
ever. And then I stepped
Listen.
out and was like,
Yes.
this is that. And everybody's like, yes.
We told you.
That's what we said it was.
We
It was
tried
very
to tell
obvious.
you. Ooh.
And by the way, it's always been that. It didn't just happen. You just learned.
Been
But
it.
you're acting like this is brand new information, but it's not.
Mm.
So
Been like that.
So yeah, that's why I
Ooh.
be like, that's why again, the goal this year is to look at things for what they
What
are,
they
not what
are.
I want them to be, not what they could be, not what I
Exactly.
hope for them, is what it is.
What it is. And being okay with it too.
Acceptance.
Yeah.
Accepting it.
I think that's the other piece. Like, you gotta accept it.
Gotta accept it.
So
It is what it is.
hmm.
Nothing more, nothing less.
It is what it is.
And take it for what it is. And if I can't accept what it is, then move around.
Facts.
If you can't accept what it is, then don't. Right? If you can't accept what it is,
then don't.
then don't.
Yeah. Then don't. I like that. If you can't accept what it is, then
Yeah,
don't.
because we be sitting there like, and I can't believe. Okay, well then why are you still? Or
Mhm.
why are we even talking? Like, why is this even a
Right.
point of discussion? Because if you can't believe it, then make it into what you can believe.
Right. Cause nah. Now you
But
doing
of
too much.
course, it's way easier said than done.
Absolutely. Cause we've been there.
Hmm.
We've all
That's why the
been
trick
there.
is to not get in that position. Because when you are too involved, that when the water's already boiling and you're in it, you don't see the bubbles.
Nope, you don't. Cause now you just stuck. You're stuck in that
Yeah,
situation
and you're like,
because
no, I'm comfortable. Everybody's
yeah.
like, so, and then too, you know how they said that this one man went into like a freezer and the door slammed behind him and he was locked in there for a couple hours.
Oh
And so
no.
he started writing on the wall and he was like, I'm getting cold. I'm doing, and like when they found him, he was dead,
Mm.
but the freezer was actually broken. So he
What?
convinced himself
That he was
because
freezing.
of his environment. He said, I'm in a freezer. I'm going to freeze to death.
Mm.
So he did.
So he manifested that like a
But
mug.
they were like, it never got below like 68 or something, like something weird. And they were like, what? Well,
That's
how did this man die?
crazy, right? So how did he
But that
die?
goes to show how
The
powerful our
mind
mind
is
is.
absolutely.
So people can convince you that you're not in a toxic situation,
Mhm.
just like the girls who were in that Stockholm syndrome. I think it
Mhm.
was a girl and her daughter that was abducted in Criminal Minds,
Mhm.
and they were
Mhm.
like, "No, leave with us." And they were like, "No, I'm
Yeah.
waiting for daddy.
Yes.
Like I'm waiting for
Yeah.
daddy."
And
And they were
I was
like,
like,
first of all, he's not your daddy. He's a rapist.
right. He kidnapped
You,
you.
but she don't know that daddies don't supposed to rape. She didn't
Mm.
know that.
No.
She was born into this.
Yeah.
It's the boiling water,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
So it's the
Crazy.
boiling water.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People I've always done is okay, well, that don't make it right.
That's the part.
That don't mean it's
It doesn't make it
acceptable.
right.
Maybe you should stop doing it, you know?
That's the part we have to get out of. Like that this is
Yeah.
me and this is what I've always
This is what I've
done
always
and this is
done.
the norm for me. Okay,
Right.
but this is
It don't
not.
make it non-toxic.
Right. This is not. Cause your sense of normalcy is not the same as mine.
It's not. Don't make it acceptable.
Mm-mm. Mm.
So we'll keep doing what you do.
You
You know,
listen
just do it over there.
by yourself. Don't involve me. Cause I'm out.
Yeah. So it's definitely
Mm.
easier said than done.
For sure. For sure. And that's what healing is. Like it all of it
That's
is
why it hurts.
it that's why it
Because
hurts.
honestly, the realization, like when you get to see that you were in something and you didn't even realize
Yeah.
how toxic it was, then you're like, how could this have happened? So then the reason why it hurts is because then you lose trust in yourself,
Yes.
your own judgment.
It's
How
it's
could I have
definitely
not seen what everybody else saw and told me, and I stuck up for the person?
it's definitely self-hurt for sure. Like you're so disappointed in yourself.
Yeah,
And
because
that's
you're
like
like,
one of the
how?
worst hurts. Like how
How?
did I do this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yep. And then it's gonna be hurt, guilt, shame, like all of those
All of the
things
above.
gonna tie into it.
And that's where
Mm.
you gotta get to the root because now you're like, okay, how come I didn't see this? And then you gotta experience the hurt,
Yep.
then the guilt, then the shame, then back to the hurt, then more
Yep.
guilt because you discovered the new hurt, then more shame because it's like, well, how did I do this?
Yep. Mm.
Wow, who am I?
It's ooh, that healing roller coaster and giant drop and all of those things,
The Batman, and then they
man.
got stuck upside down.
Listen,
Look,
when it gets stuck, the eagle that used to be
oh
raggedy,
no,
hitting your head,
that thing was gonna collapse any second.
any second that roller coaster was gonna fall apart and you were gonna die. So
Right.
yeah. So all of that, like healing is hurtful. It can be hurtful, but don't not go on the journey because of fear.
Yeah, because I think there's peace at the end.
It
And
is.
sometimes you got to get broken down to get built back up.
Always. You're definitely going to receive some enlightenment, but you got to see the course. You got to see it through.
You got to stay the course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's good.
Healing hurts.
Hey.
But heal anyway.
But listen to that part. Heal anyway, because we
Heal
don't want you
anyway.
out here unhealed. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Heal anyway.
Heal anyway. Do it. You hear
Do
me?
it, do it, do it, do it.
Okay.
All right. So what goes in the to-go box?
I think you just said it. That was a good wrap up. Like healing hurts, but do it anyway.
Do
Like
it anyway.
don't let fear stop you. Don't let, other people stop you. Don't let media, social media, don't let anything get in between you and your healing because it's for you It's necessary for, you to be the person that you're supposed to be, to live in your purpose. Like all of that works together. So do the healing work that you need to do, whether people are on your side, whether, people are cheering for you or clapping for you. Heal anyway. It's gonna hurt. Heal anyway. You gonna turn up some things that you maybe wanted to keep buried, but no, face it and heal anyway and keep going.
Yep, it'll get scary, but do it anyway.
Yeah,
It'll cost you, but do it anyway.
do it anyway.
It's gonna cost you some money. It's
That
gonna cost
part.
you some friends.
That
It's gonna
part.
cost you some family.
That part.
Might cost you some relationships.
All of
Could
it.
cost you your job. I don't know.
Do it anyway.
Right? But do it anyway. Because it's about, I think healing is so much about choosing you
Yeah.
and saying, you know what, I matter more to me than any of these other things, than the money, than than the job, than the friends, than
Mm.
the boyfriend, husband, whatever. If this situation isn't for me, I'm going to die.
Mm.
Right. So I have to choose me so I can have life. Like I have to choose myself. I have to choose God. Like I
Mhm.
can't let this person continue to diminish me. I'm not going to continue to sacrifice myself to be here,
Yeah.
to say I was here.
Mm. That's good.
It doesn't work for me anymore. So, like a phoenix from the ashes, I rise.
Indeed, man. Indeed.
Well, thanks for tuning into Virtual Bestie Podcast. Until next time, peace.
Peace.